Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I see we're still trying to get our video back up. There is a beautiful face.
Yay! Alrighty. Yep. So welcome everyone to the second episode of SenchiCon's Cosplay Myths podcast. I'm Rebecca, and we have with us Deborah and our guest of the week, JoJo.
Hello.
So this week's episode will be about two subjects. Like we mentioned last week, we are going to be starting from the head and working our way down. So this week we are discussing wigs and colored contacts.
That's your face region.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in that area. Yeah. So one of the major things like you got to start with anything is you got to get the wig. How do we buy a wig? What are we looking for? What are we doing? I have no idea.
It really varies to a lot of things, but the number one thing you probably would want to consider is, well, who you're cosplaying, but also like how much money are you willing to spend? Because you can make a cheap wig work, and you could definitely make an expensive wig work. And how much money you're willing to spend kind of falls into where you'd shop. I know that Deborah has some preferences which are very similar to mine on where to shop for wigs, and I like to go by, if I can get away with cheap, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. I know like last week we talked about like budget. This is a big thing where budget's going to step in. This is going to be one of like your higher budget items. If you wanted to, you can find some good cheap wigs. Like I know one of my favorite places is actually Amazon. I bought like a really nice wig. It looks like you could sell it sucker for like $60. I only bought it, I think, for like 20, maybe less than that. But the biggest thing when you're buying online is look at the reviews.
The photo reviews specifically, like,
yeah,
look at real people wearing them. Those studio lights aren't doing you specifically any favors. Look at real people taking their little selfies in the mirror with their little grainy like flip phone cameras, and be like, okay, that's what it will look like when someone takes my photo at a convention.
One thing also, because with their studio lights, if you're looking for a lighter color wig, their studio lights are going to make it look much lighter. I learned this the hard way. Back when I first started buying wigs, I was looking for a platinum blonde wig, and the studio lights make a yellow wig look platinum. I did not know this. So I ordered 3 different platinum blonde wigs, and they all came yellow. So
yeah,
look at the reviews, the photo reviews. If you're buying off of Amazon, definitely 100% check the reviews, because Amazon's one of those tricky sites of it. You're gonna get what your money's worth sometimes.
Yeah, and a lot of things about Amazon wigs is because they tend to be the cheaper wigs. Like, of course, there are more expensive wigs when it comes to cosplay wigs on Amazon as well. When it comes to cheaper wigs, chances are they're going to be a little thinner. So what you plan on doing with the wig is also super important when you're buying a cheap wig. Because if you want hair that just falls straight down, Amazon's perfect. All their wigs are made to do that. But if you plan on cutting it into a really short haircut, you're going to get a lot of bald spots, because Amazon wigs, cheaper wigs anyway, tend to have their wefts, which are what the hair actually is attached to, really far apart, because they're like, okay, we'll make this long. It's going to be covered anyway, so it's thin and long and it falls down beautifully. But if you cut it too short, you're going to have a bunch of little bald patches where your real brown hair is going to be sticking through, and it's going to be very apparent.
Yeah.
And in the same sense, you can't really flip them up because they're so thin, those same bald spots will reappear.
Yeah. The thinner wigs are not good for if you want to do like pigtails also. If it's staying down, the cheaper ones are fine. There are several other sites you can buy wigs from. One of my favorites is, I believe it's pronounced Kasui Wigs. Kasou. They're one of my favorite sites.
I've always pronounced that Casso.
Casso? I've heard it both ways, so I don't know anymore.
Just Google Translate, answer my questions.
Yeah, so you guys can find it. I've never had a problem with them, and some of my favorite wigs come from them. If you've ever seen, I've been wearing it the like last year and a half, I think, at the cons up here. I walked around as Todoroki, female version, in a kimono-ish outfit. That was me, and that was the wig. That wig, that thing is thick. It is so thick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thick wigs let you do a lot more with them.
Yes.
I also like ordering from like I like ordering from pretty much any website that lets me do like a color match to like other accessories to the wig, because then I can like usually if they have like a color match feature, they also have a feature where you can see that same color under different light settings. So I know I'll be under warm light a lot of the time, so I want to look at what this wig looks like under warm light versus this stuff falls into the studio light thing. So some of these websites give you other options, like, oh yeah, this is what this wig looks like under light, like bright white. This is what it looks like in sunlight, and you're like, okay, I want that, but 80 inches of it.
Yes. I do know some like the nicer wig stores will also have like wefts. So if you need to extend a wig, you can buy extra wefts as well. And then those will you color match it to their wigs too, depending on the wig name.
And it's not even for longer. Like sometimes your anime character has like a rat tail, and you're like, I don't want to buy a $80 60-inch wig and then cut off all except for like 1 inch worth of hair. So you just buy a weft, stick that in there, and then you got your nasty little rat tail.
And as you guys were mentioning before, a weft is like a little thing with hair attached to it.
Yeah, I think
A
JoJo has an
weft.
example.
Haha!
JoJo has an example.
Scissors in that bag. Okay. So wefts usually come. Oh, this one's not even opened yet. What a treat! So usually this one is. I don't even know it's from. I probably ordered this off Arda. But this is what wefts usually come in. They just look like big old chunks of hair, right, in plastic bags. And you got your resealable bag that I'm going to carefully open and not use my teeth on because I'm a decent human being. Probably.
Sometimes.
And then, it falls to the bottom, so you gotta, like, follow your heart. You gotta hear that crinkle. Yeah! Okay. I could have took this out in events. So this is probably, like, I don't even know how long of a weft this is. This is one weft, but it's one continuous, like, one continuous thread that the hair is stuck to. Let me hurt my heart and, like, unwind this a bit, and then I'll have to, like, wind it back up again. I think that's popcorn at my door.
Popcorn?
Give me the popcorn. I haven't eaten yet.
Same.
Yeah.
That's why I have my coffee.
Let me untwine this. I should have grabbed the used one, but all my used ones were like really long. So this is like my shortest weft. So wefts usually come in like 2 sizes, long and then super long. So this is just like the normal shorter one. You gotta open it, and somewhere in here there's the start, and you can kind of see how thin each of these are as it unfolds. Where's the beginning? I just want the beginning so I don't have to like unravel this whole thing. Okay, that is the thickness of a single weft.
Oh, that is thin.
Yeah, so this is basically what you will get like going lengthwise along a wig, and they'll layer these to make it look more full. So sometimes you just need a little bit more fullness in one section, and a weft will help you achieve that. And I don't even know if I can fold this back up. Maybe this is just dead to me now.
I believe in you, Joe.
So we've discussed buying it and styling it actually. So it's really important when buying to know what you're doing with the wig. And if you're going, like, is it also important? Can you reuse wigs or?
Depends on what you've done to it.
That too. If you're buying a very character-specific wig, like Yu-Gi-Oh or Naruto, those ones are a little bit harder to use in other cosplays unless you're doing like an OC or LARPing. I know a couple guys do that.
Especially since there's like a lot of wigs that are very specific, like Soma from Food Wars, who has like the red on top and the black on bottom. You're not going to really have a need for that exact coloration.
Yeah.
Like, probably ever.
Yeah. Whereas I have like 3 different black wigs. I rotate with different cosplays that I can use just about anything for.
But you don't have to buy a high quality wig to do any of this.
No. I've used the cheap brown Amazon wig for like every brown-haired character, like every brown-haired schoolgirl I've ever cosplayed, has used the same cheap Amazon $20 wig. Because sometimes you just luck out and you get a good wig.
Yeah. But again, check the reviews. Make sure. Some of them also were I know like Amazon and AliExpress too. That's a good site to get wigs on. That's cheaper. However, some of them they
If
tend
you
to
want
be
to play chance.
yeah, if you play chance. That's exactly what it is. Sometimes their wigs can be small, so it's gonna be very tight on your head.
Because they make their
Which-
wigs usually in China, and they're like, "All right, this is the average head size we got," and then you're sitting here like, I'm not that small.
Yep. Yep.
Which does bring us into, how do you get the wig on and off and like do all of that?
Everyone has a little bit of a different way of getting it on, but usually first step is putting a wig cap on, which is a I thought I grabbed one. It's like a net, like a hair net.
Yeah, so there's multiple kinds of wig caps too. I think actually the very, very first step though is really dependent on the length of your hair and how full your hair is. Like Deborah has very short hair. It's cute as hecky, but she can just probably put a wig cap on and go with it. My hair, I have to at least like try tie it up. Rebecca, your hair, you're gonna have to like French braid that around your skull, make
Yeah.
that work out for you one way or another. Because your goal is to get your hair up and off your neck so it's not as visible, and then as flat to your head as possible, so you don't end up with like a big bulbous like growth on like the side of your head.
Mhm.
So first thing you want to do is do your best to get your hair out of your way, and then like after that there is multiple kinds of wig caps. The two I most commonly see are the ones that look like fishnet leggings with like elastic on one side and then they have a hole all the way through, and the other ones look like a poor man's bald cap. um they're just like they're like a nude pantyhose fabric, and it's more like a sock than the tube that the fishnet one is, because the netting ones have a hole all the way through, like you can stick your arm through it and you can wear it like here, like it there's holes on both sides, while the pantyhose material one is just like a sock.
That you put on your head.
Yeah, you know what you do with those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I personally prefer the netted one, just because I have a really hard time just trying to put like a cap on and not have hair sticking out. And the net one you can pull over your head down to your neck, pull your hair out of it, and then pull back up over your face. You know, like when you take your shirt off and all your hair gets like that. Yeah, it's like that, but intentional.
Yeah. I do know back actually when I used to have long hair, and Jojo, you were talking about this too, is when you're putting on those, when you have the longer hair, putting the net in, when you're trying to get your hair in the net and everything, you just kind of mush it around sometimes just so it lays flat.
Yeah, I'm real bad at braiding my own hair. Like, it's fine if it's like a wig's hair because like it's in front of me, but on my own head, I'm incompetent with hairstyling. I didn't do it. No, so I usually go for like a small ponytail if I need it, and then I'll like pull it up and I'll just like try to evenly distribute my hair underneath the wig cap as best as I can, and then I'll like pin the distributions in place. And sometimes even to get like baby hairs out of the way. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Hello. I'll actually use hairspray and hairspray my baby hairs and then like pull them back so that they kind of stick to my head versus going forward. Because you know,
Okay.
when you got bangs, you got a lot of baby hairs because your bangs are half baby hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the myths about wearing a wig is that wearing a wig is irritating. That's normal and there's nothing you can do about it. True or false?
Personally, I would say false. Though wigs can be kind of itchy depending on the wig itself, but there could also be different explanations of why the wig is irritating your scalp. One of my biggest ones was when my scalp is super dry, it does not like wearing a wig. Can't do it.
There's also a chance you might have just bought a really cheap wig and it has like some like gunk on it from the factory and it just needs a good wash.
Yeah.
Because whatever's on the wig could be irritating your scalp as well. And then there's also other types of irritants. Like you could be irritated because you feel like it's pulling on your head a specific way. And that just kind of goes into the weight of your wig and how you have it distributed amongst your head. A lot of these bigger, heavier wigs will come with a little clip in the front. And it kind of looks like a mini comb. And its intention is to grab onto the hair on the top of your head and kind of help hold the wig in place. But a lot of the wigs that come with those only have one dead center on your head. So you have one point of contact on your head where it's holding onto your hair. And then you probably have like two huge ponytail clips in the back of your head that are pulling backwards with like 80 inches of synthetic fibers pulling on the back of your head. And so that's gonna irritate you real quick because that's a lot of weight on one point on your head. So a way you could help with that is one, you could move the pigtails to like maybe be like more evenly on the side of your head so they're not both pulling in the same direction. You could sew in more of those little combs so that there's not just pulling right here, but it's more like holding on around the sides of your head as well, just to help distribute that amongst yourself. You could even put like bobby pins in your hair as different points of contact to your head to help reduce the pull on that one spot of your head.
Yeah, if you guys are like me who has a very sensitive scalp, I have to put in, like, doesn't matter if it's just a short wig, a long wig, I have to put in like 10, 15 bobby pins just to distribute everything because it gives me a headache within like the next like 2 hours. If I'm lucky, 2 hours. Sometimes not so much. But yeah, just know like where you're pointing on, where when you're putting your bobby pins, figure out like, okay, does it hurt if I leave a bobby pin like right here? Which I can't do because right there is where I get my headaches quickly. So usually like here, and then in the back. That will help your wig a lot from falling back too.
Also, make sure you're not stabbing yourself in the head with bobby pins. Like, it's not just a bobby pin pulling on your head. Don't put a bobby pin somewhere where it literally feels like it's stabbing you, because it's gonna feel like it's stabbing you for the next 8 hours you wear this costume.
Yep.
It's not worth it.
I have a feeling you speak from experience.
Nope.
I do. I will say that now. I do know some people actually, like, if they can, they'll do like wig breaks where they'll just take the wig off for like 10-15 minutes every couple hours just to kind of breathe.
That's why you see a lot of bald people in the bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's what that is. You see, like, you go into the bathroom and there's a group of people hanging out by the sink. One of them's doing their makeup, but the rest of them are just kind of standing there scratching their head. That's a wig break.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe it's a good idea to plan those in if you're wearing a wig and it's your very first time and you're not sure how it's gonna.
Oh, you should definitely plan breaks when you're cosplaying.
Yeah. It's kind of just I don't know if you can really plan a break. Usually it's just be like, hey, I need a break. Let's go.
Well, that's not true. I remember when I was doing villains, actually, from Miraculous Ladybug with a friend of ours, we actually we both needed binders for that costume, right? So we both planned a specific break in our day to like, release our like rib cages, let us breathe, because it's really bad to wear a binder for a really long period of time. So we planned ahead for that, knowing it would be uncomfortable, and we actually made off versions of our costumes. We made t-shirts with puns about like everything. Like, I know, like, Cat Noir, I did like the copycat version of him, but like when he like puts his costume on, when he gets called Chaton a lot, so Chaton. So I put Chaton on the shirt because it was the off version, and then I drew a really crappy crayon version of him in the t-shirt, and I walked around in that for like an hour as a break. And it's also a great time to have nobody stop you to take photos, so it's perfect shopping time.
Yes. Shopping, food.
Oh yeah, definitely eat in that costume. Eat in your off costume, because then no one's gonna go up when you have a burger in your mouth like, oh my gosh, can I take your photo? And you'll have to be like, excuse me. I use the opportunity to eat a piece of popcorn.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw that. Did not hide that.
Yeah.
Speaking of itchy scalp.
Yes. Which you
what
guys
else?
mentioned. Oh wait. What's up, Joe?
I'm trying to think of what else there is with comfort for wigs. There's how
Yeah.
clean it is, how your scalp's your actual head's condition, the weight distribution, don't stab yourself. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
so wigs aren't your real hair, so you can put a lot of random stuff into them, but don't put anything that's going to irritate your skin, because a wig's going to touch your skin constantly. So that's another irritant that you might be coming across. Yeah, don't. Just keep in mind, even though wig hair is not real hair and you can put almost anything in the wig, you can't put anything on your skin.
Which is something like, I remember you were mentioning that earlier, or during a discussion, it was that wigs are not your real hair. Do not treat them as such. Remember that for both styling and for wearing.
Well, it also affects your wallet too, because like if you need to clean a wig, and it's not your real hair, you don't need to put like your $100 nourishing conditioner in your wig. I sometimes use dish soap. I usually use whatever's in there, which is like the cheapest like Suave brand of soap and conditioner. And I actually don't even usually use conditioner because a lot of these like moisturizing things just kind of sit on the outer layer of your wig and just become residue.
So that does bring up like storage and upkeep of said wig. So when washing the wig, like Dawn or just something that gets like the dirt and stuff off. So like dish soap, could you use hand soap? Or
Probably, yeah. I mean, your main goal with washing a wig is to break off any sweat and hair product that or other things that like build up over it. So pretty much my thing is I'll do the cheapest soap that can get that done, because you can't dry out acrylic fiber.
Yeah. And so that you do that. Do you like, so then like upkeep of said wig, like you mentioned that wigs are not our real hair, so we get to do all crazy things to them. Does that mean like if you put spikes in your hair, you could wash it out, or sometimes are just once you spike a wig, you spike the wig?
Depends on what you use to spike the wig. I use mostly Got To Be Free Spray, just because that's what I saw in a tutorial once, and I'm scared of spending money on new things because I don't want to be wrong and waste it. So I usually use just that, and that comes out with soap and water. So that is, I could spike a wig and then wash it out. But I've also done where I have made a foam form out of insulation foam, like the canned spray foam. I'll spray that and I'll carve out like the size of this massive spike that I definitely don't want to fill in with hair. So I'm making like this little placeholder. I've put that on a wig head, and then like formed the hair around it and glued it, pinned it, did all that. That's not coming out with soap and water, and I don't want it to, because that hair probably looks horrible underneath that. It probably has the weirdest bald spot. Like that wig is forever in that spike.
Yeah. So then like storage of a wig, how do you store a wig? Like once you're all done with your cosplay, you've washed and cleaned it, do you put it away wet? Do you put it away dry? Do you brush it? Do you just throw it in a box in a corner and say done?
I personally like to, if it's a long wig, because all these vary depending on the size of the wig, and my dog is attacking my door. If it's a long wig, I like to brush it out before putting it away, and then I like to braid it, because I shove all my wigs in bags. So if it's all just loose and everywhere and I shove it in a bag, it's just going to tangle on its way back into the bag. But if I braid it first, it'll come out of the bag in a braid and it won't be all as badly tangled. For spiky wigs, if they're like a bunch of small spikes, like let's say it was a Naruto costume or Aster from Black Clover, I kind of just shove those in the bag without too much care, just because I'm like, all right, I'll just redo you later. But on like ones that have actual aspects to them that isn't just hairspray, I usually store those on those foam wig heads or those little plastic ring ones that are relatively cheap and just kind of like store those somewhere. And I'm like, well, you'll collect dust, but I'll wipe it off later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say for like my longer wigs, I was always told to like braid them and then put them in. I don't always like to braid them because it, it leaves, it makes them wavy sometimes.
Oh.
And for some, yeah, because my nicer wigs will do that. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll twist them, just like do that, and it's really loose, and then just kind of like wrap it around the wig head, and then I'll fold it into the bag, and that's less likely to. I haven't had any problems of them like leaving weird twisty things or anything. But that's one thing that I do.
Another good thing is if you save the original packaging a wig comes in, you get this neat little ring cardboard thing around the wig that helps it like not get like squished and like shooken up and all that. This also has basically a giant net around it that kind of stops the like hairs from like getting all moved around by the plastic bag. So if I took this out of this bag right now, it would look pretty fine. It'd look fine. Like it has like nearly no damage to it because it's been sealed up this entire time. You get a little fuzz from that, but like, yeah, I can put that on now and be fine.
Yeah. That's actually a really nice wig. What is that?
It is.
I got it to, I think, if I remember correctly, I bought this one from I picked Cosplay Wigs because it was the color that I most closely wanted for Carrot from One Piece, but she has a bob, so I got it to cut it. So I wasn't even going to even use all this. It just happened to be the cheapest wig in the color I wanted from a website that I'm pretty happy with. And you can even see the inside of this wig that it has a pretty decent amount of wefts.
Oh.
Yeah, see that's a nice wig.
And like if I have a cheap Amazon wig here that I bought for a costume that I never actually followed through on. And I think if I remember correctly, it was super thin and it doesn't have nearly as many wefts. Where is your net? Oh, I found it.
Yeah, no, those nets are lifesavers for storing a wig.
Yeah. A lot of thing I also do is those net wig caps. I'll use them in place of this net.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And then on times that I don't have a wig cap, I will do the braid thing, and then I'll turn the wig inside out, so all the loose hairs are on the inside of the wig cap, and if the wefts, the like lines of the wefts are showing outside, and I'll just have it inside out, throw the braid inside the little newly made cavern, and throw that in there just to reduce the amount of like hairs actually rubbing up against the plastic on the bag.
Yeah, this way you're less likely to open it to a rat's nest.
Yeah.
So are wig caps very expensive or are they cheap?
They're cheap. I've bought in like a dozen for like $5, I think, off of like AliExpress. But yeah, those suckers, they're really, really cheap.
Yeah, I've done the same thing off like Amazon. I definitely recommend buying in bulk, just because you're gonna lose them.
They're like bobby pins.
Okay,
you're gonna lose them.
So I'm hearing like
30, and I know where 2 are.
Oh dear. So I'm hearing like you need to buy in bulk caps and bobby pins for this.
Well, if you have hair and you ever use bobby pins, you should know. Like bobby pins just get lost. My favorite thing, and by favorite thing, I mean my least favorite thing, is when you go to take a wig break though, and you like rip the wig off and you like released your hair like your fin from Adventure Time, and you look down and your wig cap's gone. Like at some point in that process, you flung the wig across the bathroom floor, and you're like, "Where did it go?" So like, bring wig caps with you. Bring extras with you.
Yeah, because you don't want to put that wig cap that just touched the bathroom floor back on your head.
Especially
if you can even find it.
Yeah, that too.
How does it disappear? Where did it go?
No one knows. Like, that's the same thing with bobby pins. Where do they go?
Yeah, I remember like at one point, at one convention, I bought like a 12-pack bulk of hair nets or wig caps, and by the end, I had like 5 left because not only I was using them, I was like, people would be like, I don't remember wig cap one. I'm like, here you go, here's a fresh one right out of the bag. I got you. So So I gave them away really nilly-willy because I felt like a little fairy of wig caps, but they were gone. Santa would have made more sense. Fairies don't give good gifts.
Tooth fairy.
A quarter isn't a good gift, Deborah. They give you curses and disguises of gifts, and they give you quarters. What does Santa give you? An actual gift. Like, you take your fairy gifts. I'm going to keep my Santa ones. Keep your curses.
Oh, boy. So do you need to be a professional hairstylist to, like, style a wig? Or do you just kind of, like, be patient and take your time and you can pretty much do anything?
I mean, the second technically, but I'm not the most patient person. I've mastered the art of panic doing your wig in the hotel bathroom and finishing at 2 a.m. on the day of the con. And like, I need you to understand, that's in the hotel bathroom. That's not like the night before you go to the hotel. Like, I will bring an untouched wig to the hotel room and I'll be like, I'll cut it. So
yeah, we've all done that.
I wouldn't worry too much about patience. Like, you should be patient if you can, but like, if you run out of time, just go for it. Do your best. A lot of the times, it'll end up looking better than you think. And then like, with styling wigs, still remember that like, these aren't your real hair. You can do a lot more like crafty things to them that you wouldn't normally do. I've
glue?
used. Say again.
Super glue?
Yeah, I mean, super glue probably not, just because that's probably just gonna stick to your fingers instead.
That's true.
Yeah.
But like I said, I use like the foam mold that involves some hot glue and other types of glue. I've used craft foam molds to like make the bow for Suyu from My Hero Academia, because the little bow in her hair, I basically glued wefts to that to make it look like her actual hair was being pulled into a bow without having to actually pull her hair into a bow, because it has a very particular shape to it that hair just doesn't do in real life, and gravity won't let you. And then like, I've done a wig for Pearl from Steven Universe by pinning it very thoroughly to a wig head, holding it upside down, spraying the crap out of it, and then just being like, all right, you're in a point now. And then just leaving it. That was the method there. I put it upside down, and I was like, you'll just hang there and dry.
Yeah. For those of us who aren't quite as crafty, also look at reference photos, get different angles. There are lots of tutorials actually on YouTube itself that are will actually show you like how to do it. Also, you don't need like high quality scissors to cut the wig either. I've actually heard it's not good to use the high quality stuff, just because the wigs, because they're synthetic, will actually wear the scissors down quicker. So it's better to get them cheap. I've actually used fabric scissors a couple times out of desperation.
I mean, as long as it's sharp, you're good. Yeah, just keep it also in mind. There's two things that people think about a lot when they like think of styling hair is hair dryers and hair straighteners / curlers, and whether your wig can take that. There's definitely a difference between a wig that's heat resistant and a wig that's not. If it's not, you're going to run your hair straightener through it and you're going to come out with a flat hunk of plastic. That is a fire alarm. My house is burning.
Oh. Are they making bacon?
I don't know. My dog's attacking my door. The fire alarm's going off. It's chaos.
You need to go deal with it.
That's fine. It stopped.
Okay.
The dog can leave.
Well,
I'm gonna get the dog.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things to do and not to do with a wig, we do have a question. The question is it a myth that dyeing wigs is impossible because I can't get it to look how I want it?
As far as I know, dyeing a wig, I don't think you can because it's synthetic fibers. Someone made a question.
Yep. The question was, is it a myth that dyeing wigs is impossible because I can't get it to how I look? This was from a question from YouTube.
That is a myth. So if you get a wig considering what you're going to do with it, it's a lot easier. I know Artist specifically sells a specific shade of white that is more susceptible to dyes. Child, I can see you behind me. Get out. Okay.
We're good.
So there's that. And then there's also just considering how you're gonna dye it. So the shade of the wig really changes how susceptible the hair color it is, both in the sense that the fiber itself has color already in it, and it won't really accept any more color. And like, oh, if it's too dark, it's not gonna take your hot pink. Like, it's not gonna happen. It is a little bit difficult to be consistent with that because a lot of times companies will do a bunch of different shades of a color in a wig to give it a more realistic look. I think that Weft actually had that. Ugh. Is this it? No, that's black. That's a lace front. Da-da-da. That one doesn't. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Oh, I left it downstairs. But so when you try to like do a dip dye scenario, which I think, if I remember correctly, actually is the reason why this person's question didn't really work out. Each strand will dye a different color, and you'll get kind of an inconsistent thing out of it. But I've even dyed a wig using a spray method, where I had this really okay. So do you know Uno from Nanbaka?
I think so.
Maybe.
He has a braid that reaches down to his feet or longer because it's an anime and nothing's consistent, and it alternates pink and yellow down the braid.
Oh, I remember you wearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I looked up a bunch of tutorials online trying to figure out the best way to dye a wig, and I found the one that worked for me was alcohol and then alcohol-based inks in a spray bottle. So I bought like a Copic marker refill, ink refill, and I bought some just alcohol from the store, not like vodka or anything, but like rubbing alcohol, and put it in a spray bottle. Went to a sink that I knew was okay to get messy because it's gonna be messy. I maybe even do this outside over like a tarp or something. And I like held the wig there and I sprayed this hot pink onto this yellow wig, and that actually stayed in pretty well. Unfortunately, when it comes to dyeing wigs, it's just like dyeing fabric. What it's made of really, really matters, and there's never a guarantee that it's gonna go the way you want it to. Just because sometimes it just doesn't take the way you want it to, and it might not get as dark as you want.
Okay, so it is possible to dye a wig. You just have to go at it more like you're dyeing fabric rather than dyeing hair.
Oh, absolutely, because you're working with a synthetic fiber, and with that in mind, it's synthetic. So like your basic RIT dye won't work on it because that's for cotton and stuff like that. RIT's dye more line works on it to an extent. It will usually produce a light color no matter how strong of a dye you have. I personally think the spray on ink works really well. It came out pretty vibrant. I would go grab that wig, but then I'd have to go down the stairs, and I have no desire to do that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fair.
I've actually heard of a couple cosplayers using like hair chalk to lighten a wig.
Hair chalk?
You're gonna want to seal those because it's hair chalk.
What's hair chalk?
It's like that the stuff kids use when they're younger, to get that streak in their hair that washes out.
Oh.
You ever see like those like crafty videos where they take eyeshadow and they shove their hair in it and they pulled it down their hair? It's like that, but with the actual product that's supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they just put a streak in, and then you said use like a sealer, so like hairspray or something to just keep it from going everywhere?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I mean, hairspray is great for a lot of things.
So hairspray is okay in a wig.
Oh yeah, hairspray's fine.
Okay.
Like in this case of putting a random streak in the wig. You might even want to consider just doing a weft for that, because that is going to be a vibrant, colorful piece of hair that won't go anywhere. And if you can get it in there right, which you can do, you can get in there by hot gluing or by sewing, depends on where it is in the wig and how you want it to sit, and how lazy you are. You can get a very vibrant piece of hair in the middle of your black wig. But also wefts are a bit more expensive than hair chalk, so that's another thing to measure there.
Yeah.
Budget.
Pretty much.
Yep. So that covers wigs, at least, unless anybody else has any questions. If you do, feel free to leave them in the comments section and we'll get back to them. But we're going to move on to the next thing we were wanting to discuss during this, and that's contacts, which is basically the three things we're going to cover in that is buying, wearing, and storing. And I know nothing, so I'm going to leave it up to you two to educate me and everybody else.
Yeah, so colored contacts, you guys can buy them online. Obviously, this is something, again, you guys are going to need to do research on the site itself, just because you want to make sure it's FDA approved. There are some sites that sell them for like $10. Usually those ones are, you got to be really careful with those, because they're not.
Don't go into this blindly, guys.
Yeah. Before you even look into buying colored contacts, I recommend going and getting a basic eye exam just to make sure you don't have any stigmas and that you're not going to end up having a reaction. I have a sensitivity to contacts actually, so I have to be extremely careful on where I buy and what I wear and how long I wear them. That was something I learned through the eye doctor. You guys can go get them. I believe like Walmart has them. You can go get like a basic eye exam for $50 to $75. It is worth
Costco's
it.
pretty cheap too.
Yeah, Costco. Yeah, just look around. Like you don't have to go to an expensive eye doctor. You can go anywhere and they can be like, yeah, no, you really shouldn't wear contacts.
And can you go to like these people and be like, I'm doing a cosplay where I'm going to be wearing contacts. I just want to get an eye exam to say yes or no to the contacts.
I don't, actually I found out some eye doctors don't like hearing about cosplay or costumes when it comes to colored contacts. You can really just be like, hey, I'm looking at trying out colored contacts. Can you see if I'm able to wear them? And most
you don't even have to say colored. You just say contacts. You don't gotta give them that much information. They don't know your life.
Yeah, I literally actually, when I was younger, I went to get my eyes checked for it. The doctor told me, if you are going to be wearing colored contacts, I am not doing your exam. And I was just like, what? I was 16 at the time, by the way. So getting told that I was just like, that's none of your concern. I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm going to be safe. And so, not saying it's like all eye doctors are that way. Some eye doctors will do that. So it's, you don't have to disclose that information to them.
Okay.
And like the reason a lot of them are like that is because originally, when cosmetics was a thing, there was a lot of cheap contacts on the market that were very hazardous to your eyes. So that optometrist was probably thinking was like, this kid's gonna put something dangerous in her eyes, and I don't want to be part of that. Which is why it's so important to read up on the site, make sure that they are a safe site. Oftentimes, like, you may find like a great deal on like this site that no one knows about. No one knows about it for a reason. Don't put your eyes at risk for that. And if anything, if you're like too nervous about it, don't even do it.
Yeah, you don't have to wear colored contacts for a cosplay. I don't half the time because, again, I had the sensitivity. So like no one cares if you have a character that's black eyes and instead you have blue. Most people really don't care. Only the a-holes care, but no one cares. So
yeah, if they care so much, like it literally, if someone cares that much about the color of a character's eyes on a cosplay, their opinion isn't worth it, because they want you to look exactly like this character. They want your skin to look like it got hit by a paint bucket. Like no, their opinion don't matter anymore. Like, anime's fake, guys. No one looks like that. You just gotta embrace that, accept that, and wear whatever you want.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good, because I know a lot of pictures you don't even see the eye color. It's more like the wig and the costume.
And then even there, it's a picture. If you really want your eyes to match, edit it in post. Edit the photo.
Yeah. I know of a lot of cosplayers who will have the photographer Photoshop the eyes because they want like a flame detail in there or something, and contacts can't give you that detail most of the time.
They can, but it looks bad.
That
It's
too.
very fake. It's like hot red flames in your eyes, and it's not as good. It's just a Photoshop job.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, like we have the technology now that you can do that. I had a friend who had them Photoshop body paint on her because she didn't want to have to body paint her entire self orange.
Fair enough.
Not the tan orange. It was a legit orange.
Very fair. So, so buying contacts, we recommend being very careful, read the reviews, review the site, make sure that you're going safe. And if you just don't want to do it, don't do it. And like
safety is the priority in contacts because these go directly on your eyes, which are a very delicate part of your body. Never ever choose like a small aesthetic piece over your safety that could affect you for the rest of your life. It's not worth it. It's an 8-hour day or the next 80 years.
Yeah. I guess one of the things when you are wearing contacts, your eyes are going to dry out. So make sure you have, what are they called? Moisturizing eye drops?
Yeah, it's, they're basically just eye drops to help wet your eyes.
Yeah, those things those suckers you can get at Walmart, Fred Meyer's, any sort of store that has eye care stuff. You can get those. I think they're like what, $1.50, $3.
They're fairly cheap.
Depends on how big of a thing you're getting for them. It depends on how big of a thing you're getting for them. And keep in mind, these are not like a contact specific product. They're just eye drops. You could get them even if you have normal dry eyes anyway. So with that in mind, they're not the most expensive thing in the world. They're not even close because they're such a common object. Like you should probably have it anyway, just in case. Maybe you stared at a computer screen for too long. Maybe you watched this podcast for 3 hours in a row.
Yeah. So no. But then, okay, so we know now you do not have to do the contacts if you don't want to, but if you do, be very safe. Now say you do buy contacts, you really like them, and you're like, I love these contacts, but I'm going to wear them just once a year. How do you store them? How do you take care of them? What do you do with them after the cosplay is done?
Well, you want to, first things first, when you buy them, they usually have an expiration period on them. A lot of contacts will say that they're good for a month after their use, which I'm not 100% clear if that's just like a time decay after they're being open, or it's just like after this amount of time, the bacteria buildup on these is not safe. And seeing as colored contacts tend to be around $20 to $30, and I like having eyes in my skull. I would rather a year from now just buy a new pair. Just write down which kind you bought and then buy the same kind a year later. Now, if you were to say you were going to wear them like a month from now within the expiration period, in that case, you want to store them in a contact case, which you can either buy at any store, really. Everybody wears contact, not everybody, but a lot of people wear contacts. It's a common product. A lot of contact websites will actually, as a free gift, send you a contact case. And so you might get one for free. You might have to go buy one. You should probably check before you end up at your house at like 2 a.m. and you're like, I don't have anywhere to put these contacts. I don't know what to do with them. So you get a contact case, and then you need contact solution, which is not quite the same as eye drops. It's made to actually clean your contacts overnight and like help you help make it so that they're still hydrated and wearable the next day. To my knowledge, there's two kinds. One that is like a multi-purpose, and it can be used as eye drops, and it kind of just it's the simplest one. And then there's a sanitizing one. I don't know if sanitizing is the right word, but that's one where you fully immerse the contacts in the solution in the case, and then you have to wait 8 hours for the solution to finish doing what it's doing, and then it's safe to wear. Because if you put that solution directly in your eyes, it burns like. But it ensures a very clean contact.
Which, since you are putting something in your eye, you do want to make sure that whatever it is very clean, because having an irritated eye or
Those-
potentially an infected eye could be very bad.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like a good thing to do would actually be to buy both. I think one for sanitizing it the night before the con and like after, and then one like, oh, if you take a break and you take your contacts out, there's the multi-purpose contact solution in this case. Put your contacts in there while you're taking a break, and then put them back in your eyes later. Because one lets you wear them literally like as soon as it's immersed. One you have to wait a long period of time to wear again.
Yeah. The one that lets you do it since you immerse it, you can actually just put that in your contact lens case and just let it sit there because those suckers are tight. I've never had a leakage with those. I bring them to cons with me because I'll take my contacts out like halfway through the con and just shove those in there and they're good. And if I want to put them back in, I can just go bloop bloop, which I don't because I'm horrible at putting contacts in.
Ooh,
but
there
if I
is
want,
tools for that.
I've tried. I cannot for the life of me. But also, I have really long nails. Those tools just don't work with me. But
Mhm. But find a way that works for like you, because there are like little like sticks that kind of work like suction cups, and they kind of help people who are really, really adverse to putting their fingers near their eyes.
yes,
I'm personally not, because I was a horrible child, and I was like, "Look what I can do, mom!" And I just like stick my finger on my eye, and she'd scream at me. So I personally am fine with sticking my finger on my eye. I shouldn't be. No one should be. Don't do that. But um, but I digress. Like there are tools out there to make the entire process easier for you if you so choose to look into them, and also makes them way more sanitary. The tool is way more sanitary than your grubby finger.
yeah, that too. Oh yeah, when you are putting your contacts in, make sure your hands are clean. Obviously, I've actually put like the contact solution like on my finger before I put my contact lens on it. If you do fail a couple of times at putting the contact in, it's also a good idea to re-dip it in the solution and then try again. Because one, if you put in like a super dry contact, it's gonna sting.
And then there's, if you know that you can wear contacts, you know your eyes should be fine with it. You put a contact in and it burns. One, take it out. You're gonna want to check for a few things. You want to make sure it's not ripped or torn. Even like a tiny nick out of the corner that's like maybe like 1 millimeter in, still burns. The plastic doesn't sit right on your eyes and it burns. Deborah can attest.
Yeah, I've had several cases. If there's even like a chip on it, I did that one time and didn't notice, and it hurts like hell. It actually scratched my eye, and I had to go to the doctor and get that checked.
Oh. Yes, let's not
Yeah,
have
so
any doctor visits because of cosplay. That's a bad plan.
yeah, no, always inspect it before putting it in your eyes to make sure it's not ripped or torn. And contacts are like a weird level of fragile and durable. They are durable enough that I can fill it with solution and then kind of rub it together and like clean it out. But they're fragile enough that they can tear while you're just taking them out. It also kind of falls into their expiration period. The older they are, the more fragile they are. Another thing to look at if it hurt your eyes and it was in your eyes, take it out. Is there an eyelash in your contact? Is there anything just sitting in there? Rinse it out. Not with water, with your multi-purpose contact solution.
Yeah.
Don't use a sanitizing
water.
one. That'll burn.
Oh, don't use water on contacts? No water?
No.
No,
Don't
you're going to
use
get
water.
bacteria in your eye.
Okay. No water on contacts.
And then you also want to make sure it's not inside out.
Oh!
Yeah, contacts can be inside out. So contacts that are right side kind of have this shape to them, and contacts that are inside out have this shape to them. It's that subtle. It's a little lip. Wrong, right. Wrong, right. Wrong, right.
Okay. Alrighty.
But that's like a really easy fix. Just flip it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, looks like we're running out of time here. So I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for coming to join us today at this wonderful discussion. Jojo, thank you for joining us. Hopefully we can have you here on again soon sometime. I'll probably kidnap you again. So we'll see.
Can I at least stay in my own home? Stay safe, guys.
Well, yeah, stay in your home. I meant like kidnap you virtually here.
But yeah, thank you again for joining us. We will see you again. And next time, I believe we're covering makeup.
Yes, we'll be doing makeup, a little bit of body paint, and some special effect stuff.
But if you do have any questions about wigs or colored contacts, feel free to send us a message or leave a contact down below. You can send us an email at Deborah. What is the email address again?
It's actually my SenchiCon email here. So it is dfleischer@senchicon.org. It should be down below in the description for you guys on how to spell my last name because Fleischer, German, fun. But yeah, hit me up, and if I personally can't answer a question, I have contacts of several different cosplayers, and I'll make sure to get you that answer as best as I can.
Yep. So thank you again for joining. Hmm?
Efficiency. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
But yeah, no. Well, thank you again for joining us. We hope to see you again next time. It should be, barring anything going on, it should be in about 2 weeks, and we will be meeting again at 2:15 on YouTube.
Yep. You guys have a great night. Stay safe and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.